get started. We have a good group here, and we like to let everybody introduce themselves at these meetings because these are our volunteer meetings. So they're meant to represent our volunteers and let you guys get to know each other and kind of hear from the group as much as we can. We have an agenda today, but we'll have time, I think, for other comments. If other items need to be brought up or are interesting to people, we can do that. I'm Christine France, and I'm the Executive Director of BikeWalk Provo. Thanks for joining today. And we'll just kind of go around the horn. If you can introduce yourself, if you have a volunteer position with BikeWalk Provo or an affiliation, like whatever your affiliation is, if you're a partner organization of BikeWalk Provo, let us know that too. And sometimes we kind of make it fun and say something else about ourselves. And so I want to hear, we have a volunteer named Brady. I don't know if he's on, but he's been working on some winter riding tips, and I'll extend that to winter walking and active, any kind of active transportation. But if you have any winter tips for active transportation that have come in handy, please tell us. I will say mine that I really appreciate having a cargo bike in the winter because I don't worry about slipping out on ice and slush and snow. So it's been a benefit. I do need to go get my cargo bike fixed though. It needs a repair that has taken it out of commission. So I've been excited to have dry roads today because I could safely ride. I'm 9 months pregnant, so safely ride my two-wheeled bike instead of my trike cargo bike. Bikes are freedom. I've had trouble walking with some sciatica issues with this pregnancy, and but biking is no problem, and it's just cool to see that biking continues to be a source of freedom for me in every aspect of my life. So anyway, thought I'd share. And Kira, you're first on my list today. If you want to introduce yourself and kick us off.
Yeah, I'm Kira Johnson for BikeWalk Provo. I'm the volunteer coordinator person, and I also work as the director of the Bicycle Collective. And my winter riding tip is to lower your air pressure on your tires a little bit. It gives you a little bit more traction on those icy days.
Perfect. Thanks, Kira. Aaron, you're next.
Hi, I'm Aaron Scablan. I live in the River Grove neighborhood. I'm the director of operations for BikeWalk Provo. And my tip is to not brake too suddenly and not turn too quickly, and enjoy the ride, particularly on winter cold evenings when there's lots of snow and a lot of cars. It's just so beautiful riding through the streets of Provo.
Agreed. Rachel, you're next on my screen.
All right, so I'm Rachel Whipple. I'm a city council member here in Provo, and I like riding my bike. My tip for the winter is like really good gloves, right? Gloves and ear coverings. With that, I can manage almost anything. Even though I know however good my gloves are for the first mile, my finger's going to be cold, and then after that, they might be sweaty. But there it is.
So true. Thanks, Rachel. All right, Bremen, you're next on my screen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bremen Leak in the Sustainability Office at BYU. I'm also on the Provo City Citizens Sustainability Committee, and I'm on the Bike Committee at BYU. Mostly just here because I'm such a fan of BikeWalk Provo and Provo Bicycle Collective and all these good groups. So my winter tip would be take your keys, put them in your pocket before you put anything else in your pocket, like your COVID mask or your spork, or whatever you may be carrying around. Because if you don't, you'll get to work today and realize your keys aren't there. They will have fallen out somewhere along the way. So today I biked to work twice because when I got here, I realized I didn't have my keys to my office. They were in a snowbank back in my apartment. And
No.
yeah, and I've been inspired by Logan Car Free since July. So riding in the winter and loving it.
Wow, congrats. That's awesome. Great tip too. Secure those keys. I thought you were talking about car keys for a second, and losing them in a snowbank might be a good winter riding tip too. Motivate you. All right, Jacob.
I'm Jacob Brooks. Currently, I am the art director as of right now. I don't know if you're going to introduce me later, but that's what I do. I'm head of the rat crew as well, and I have COVID. So send me don't send me anything. Send me vibes, whatever you want to do. So get me through this.
Is your winter riding tip to not catch COVID?
It's to not ride in the winter. No. Not to get it. But no, look, check other side. That's my skeleton. I just got some new fenders. That's what I recommend, honestly.
Oh, yep.
Build a dirt strip down your back, and people will question where it came from.
Nice. All right, John Felt, you're next.
Hi, I'm John Felt. I am the Safe Routes to School coordinator for BikeWalk Provo. My tip is that I used to always keep my gloves in my pockets with my coat that I'd always ride in. And then recently I took them out for some reason, and now one of them has vanished and I only have one glove. And I blame it on a child. I'm sure it was one of them that took it. So keep track of those gloves. That's
great tip. My preschooler lost one of his gloves at school today. Always the worst. All right, Sam Bishop, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Yeah. So I am from BikeWalk Sojo, South Jordan. So we cribbed our name from you guys, and it's a brand new group. We're just getting started, but someone's in our Facebook group, like BikeWalk Provo, whoever
Yep,
does
that was me.
Oh, well,
a lot
thank
of
you.
us do, but
okay.
Yeah, and I should have said this at the beginning that we introduced any advocacy group in kind of the ones that we know of around the state that kind of have similar missions as us, because Jacob Brooks is going to present on our bike parking advocacy efforts today, and we thought it could be kind of a helpful toolkit for other advocacy groups in the area. So yes, I'm so glad that you saw the invitation and were able to join us today, and congratulations on starting BikeWalk Sojo, and hopefully we can do some good collaborating together.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you have a winter riding tip you wanted to share?
I do, actually.
Or walking, or any winter tip?
Both. One thing I've realized is that when we bundle up, when it's cold and we bundle up, we put things on everything but our legs. And so I got some like thermal insulated pants that I just keep by the front door. And there's an office here I can slip into, and I can slip those on. And that's made such a huge difference to go with my coat and gloves and everything like that. But
yeah,
that's my tip. Yeah.
I agree. I got some rain pants a few years ago, and those are my extra kind of layer in the winter, especially if it's precipitating. Makes a huge difference. So, great tip.
Thanks.
All right, Callie.
Yes, my name is Callie Christensen, and I'm just a concerned citizen, I guess. I've received emails from BikeWalk Provo for a while, but this is the first time that my schedule aligned, so I could actually join a meeting. So I'm excited to hear about what you guys are working on and that kind of stuff. But my winter tip for biking and walking is to have a really big scarf that you can wrap around your ears and your nose and just your entire head. And it's been really helpful.
Agreed. Yes. Oh, Callie, so great to have you. What, if you don't mind me asking, neighborhood of Provo do you live in?
I live like just south of BYU campus, basically.
Perfect. Cool. Well, so glad to have you. Hopefully we can catch you on a hook and get you involved in new ways. I'm glad you could join us. All right, James.
Guessing that's James Hall.
James
I'll
Hall,
go first.
yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm James Hall. I live in the Oak Hills neighborhood, and I lead the like government and visitor walking and bike tours of downtown. And I work from home, so I don't commute by bike. I'm mostly a recreational cyclist, and my tip is probably get a fat bike. I tried mountain biking pretty recently when there was 8 inches of fresh snow on the Bonneville Shoreline Trail, and it was a failure with my 2.5-inch wide tires. So yeah, not a great tip, but
That's a great tip for recreational winter riding. That's awesome. Stan.
Stan Morris, lead for BikeWalk Provo Stories. And I'm not doing a lot of winter riding, but I do a lot of winter walking. I live in the Provo or the Joaquin neighborhood, and I like to walk either to the campus, libraries, or Center Street. And yeah, I don't have a problem walking on the ice, but that's when it'll get you. So watching out for that ice, I'm walking along all season, everything's fine. It's that one time when you're not expecting it. And I also reported recently about tree limbs falling. I noticed that when you start to see those little clumps of snow coming off the limb, that it can be an indication that the limb's getting ready to break off. So it's my winter tip. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Stan. Chelsea, glad you could join us. Do you have any? Oh, introduce yourself and give us your winter tip.
Sure. Yeah. My name's Chelsea. I used to live in Provo, recently moved up to Rose Park neighborhood in Salt Lake. And my winter tip is to get yourself a collection of handkerchiefs from every place that you visit, because those will be very useful for many things when you're riding in winter, whether it's your runny nose or like getting snow off your seat. So that's my tip.
I like it. James Clausen, you're next on my list.
Right. I'm also just a concerned citizen. Recently moved to Provo, finished school in Idaho, and also recently became passionate about just like urbanism and walkable cities and stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, James. Perfect. And Heidi, you're next on my list. If you could introduce yourself.
I'm Heidi Goodhart. I'm from the Utah Department of Transportation. I'm up in Salt Lake where I live, but my 2 tips for winter bike riding, I'll do 2 just because I think they're invaluable. One would be to invest in some bar mitts. It allows me to kind of on cooler days ride without gloves, because I get sweaty hands, and then with sweaty hands you get sweaty gloves, and with sweaty gloves you get cold hands. And so I find that that kind of helps with that. Plus it makes it easier to brake and paddle shift without getting fingers caught in your stuff. And my second would be on active storm days, throw on a pair of ski goggles. Those are pretty clutch. They keep your face warm and they don't fog up when you're running around. So yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Heidi. All right, Daniel Jensen.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm an urban planner. I work with Sunrise Engineering. So my involvement here is just as a citizen and just kind of my interest. My winter tip is to go south. I'm not a winter person.
Not necessary, but enjoyable.
yeah, I'm from California, and that stayed with me.
Oh, thanks, Daniel. Nice to have you. All right, Wayne.
Hi, I'm Wayne Levitt. I have been part of this group in the past. I guess kind of have watched it from afar for the past couple of years. But when I'm biking in the winter, I really want good gloves, nice warm gloves, and I have to second the comment about ski goggles. They are great.
Agreed. So your windshield as a cyclist. All right, Logan. Logan could probably give us 2 hours on winter cycling tips. He's an expert.
I don't know about that, but I'm Logan. I'm from Springville with the Hubble Creek Bicycle Association. So I assume Daniel's comment was come south to Springville where everything's better, right? But my winter cycling tip is I recently got one of these things here, this like garden sprayer, and I've really been enjoying how easy it makes cleaning all the ice and muck and grime off my bike. So it's been a fun one.
Good. I'm glad it's worked for you. That's awesome. Remember your comment on our group. My husband used that for cyclocross races and it worked like a charm. So glad it's working for winter riding too. All right, I think Kurt, you're next on my list. If you can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kurt Boucher. I'm with Logan at the Hobble Creek Bicycle Association in Springville. Just glad to be part of the chat here with you today. I guess my tip for winter cycling is good socks. And make sure they're nice and long so that when your ankles are exposed, you don't freeze them off on your way to where you're going. Guess that's it.
And wool is the
gotta be
best
wool.
material.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Kurt. Thanks for joining us. All right, Carol, if you're there, the next 6 or so are not on video. So if you're not there, that's okay. If you want to hop on video, that's great too.
Hi, I'm Carol. And I haven't been able to ride for multiple reasons this winter yet, but to get outside, I don't remember who said it, keeping a pair of like winter pants by the door, not for me, but for my son. If you have small children and it's hard to get them out of the house in and out all the time, getting them ready, just leave a pair of snow pants to just pull up over whatever they're already wearing to take them outside.
That is a great tip. I love that. Thanks, Carol. And do you want to just describe your role with BikeWalk Provo as well?
So this year I'll be helping to coordinate rides that are geared more towards families. And when we start working on like bike bus things, I'll be helping with that too.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, Sarah.
Hi, I'm with the Utah County Health Department, and that's why I'm here today, but also I'm a Provo citizen who has watched your activities from afar admiringly. And I also like to commute on my bike. So my winter tips are several layers of different thicknesses of neck gaiters, so you can pull them up over your face or not, and breathe through them. And then the other is, I second the ski goggles. Those are really the best.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Sarah. Yes, I know you have an announcement which will be next for us. So thanks for joining. Clark gave us a heads up that you would be doing that. Another Utah County Health employee, Dakota, and a board member. Would you like to introduce yourself? I guess I just did.
Well, that's me. No, I'm Dakota. I'm part of the board. I usually cycle during winter. And you know, I don't want to add anything to what's already been said. There's some great things. But lately I have to side with Stan. I've had some bike issues, and so I've just decided to walk. For me, it's close enough to work where I just walk every day, and it's been really nice because literally it's just like me and everything going on around me. It's like I don't have to worry about slipping and sliding or anything like that. And then the layers comment. I mean, guys, come on, just lay us. So yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dakota. Heather, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Heather. I live in Franklin, and I help with Bike to School Week, and I don't bike very much in the winter. I do walk a lot, but that's
This
because
is walking inclusive. We do not.
I walk mainly because I have a dog, so I don't think that counts.
Okay, Heather actually prevented me from getting hit by cars today. She takes crosswalk duty at our elementary school on Thursdays, and I was so focused on getting to my kids on time that I was not paying attention, and Heather saved my life. So Heather's done her good duty for the day. Thanks, Heather. Chris, are you there? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Chris with Bike Utah, and I guess I live in Provo. I'm in the Mazer neighborhood. I guess my tip is to buy or build a kick sled.
Yes, I think I heard we may be featuring your kick sled video on our social media if you give us permission, because it's a very cool different way to get around in the winter. I was inspired by it. It's very cool.
Yeah, I tried it again another day, but the snow had kind of melted, and that was kind of an ordeal. So
yeah,
it mostly
it
just
needs
worked
some
right
ice.
after it snowed. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for joining, Chris. And then Aaron told me that his brother Grant is just listening in. So hello, brother Grant, and we'll move on to announcements unless I missed anybody. Okay, I think that is everyone. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining. We have a good set of diverse locations and interests here today, and that's awesome. Just a few announcements, and they're going to be from different people. So we have 3 announcements. The first, I'm going to hand it over to Kira Johnson, our Director of Volunteer Happiness, and she's going to just describe some new, some changes within the organization, new volunteer placements that we've had lately.
Sweet. Super grateful for all the volunteers at BikeWalk Provo. So Chelsea mentioned that she moved to Salt Lake. She's been our communications director for several months, maybe almost a year, and super grateful for her work. And she's transitioned those responsibilities over to Jacob Brooks, who has been very enthusiastic about volunteering with BikeWalk Provo since he came on board. And
you guys told me if you win a Volunteer of the Year award, then you automatically become the communications director. So
at least in your case. So whoever gets Volunteer of the Year next year, watch out.
I just want to just quickly say thank you and to Chelsea for all the work she's done over the past year. If everyone could give her a Zoom version of a round of applause, even if you don't know Chelsea and you've seen our social media, received our newsletter, seen a press release we've done, Chelsea's contributed to that. So thank you so much, Chelsea.
I guess also with that, Chelsea, even though she lives in Salt Lake, still wants to volunteer with BikeWalk Provo. So she's going to be the newsletter editor now, and I guess maintain a few of her previous responsibilities. Okay, James introduced him, James Clausen, he's new to volunteering with us. For now is helping out with the bike rack committee and potentially the website. And James seems like he'll be a really great advocate. So we'll keep tapping into that enthusiasm that he's shown. Allie's not here, but she's going to be taking on responsibility of searching through some of our policies for Provo City and finding ways to advocate for, I don't know, can you remember exactly what you gave her, Aaron?
Change.
That's a good, she's advocating for change. Jake Dustin isn't here. He's been our service coordinator and he's done some really great service projects for BikeWalk Provo. He lives in American Fork or Pleasant Grove, American Fork, and is starting a group up there, which we're really happy about. Sad to lose him as a service coordinator, looking to fill that role. If any of you are wanting to have more responsibility with BikeWalk Provo, that's one that I'll be searching for. And John Feltz introduced himself. He is now our Safe Routes to School coordinator, taking the place of Mary Wade, who has been doing that for a while. So that's my update.
It's been a good month for volunteer placements. Thank you. So I think Aaron just put in the chat that Safe AF is the group. So if you know anyone in American Fork, feel free to pass along that name. Yeah, it is a good name. Okay, our next announcement, Sarah Calloway from the Utah County Health Department has an announcement to make about a volunteer opportunity.
Thanks. And if I can share my screen, it would be, I have a couple slides if that's okay.
Yep. Yeah, of course.
Okay,
yeah, Aaron, do you? Okay, perfect.
Awesome, thank you. Got it. So Utah County Health Department, I'm on the tobacco team, which seems like it might be unrelated, but it is very related to creating a great environment that we're all working towards. And we have this opportunity right now with some funding to conduct a community observational survey. And let me explain what that is. So I know that I'm just preaching to the choir here when I'm talking about the importance of the built environment and creating spaces for active transport. But the way that links to the health department is through physical activity, access to food, healthcare, and lots of other things. And then also a community connectedness piece. And community connectedness is considered a protective factor in public health. And it's protective of mental health and also our substance use when we feel more connected to our community. And I know that's something that BikeWalk Provo is really passionate about. So the survey that we're doing is a tool that was designed by the CDC called the Built Environment Assessment Tool. And it measures physical features on street segments. So a street segment would be considered usually like from one intersection to another intersection, and it kind of looks at all of those features between those two places. There are a lot of measures that look at bicycle and pedestrian environment. And right now, we're kind of focusing on those areas with high health disparities, which just means those areas where there are like more preventable health, like negative health consequences that are affecting the populations. There are a lot of like areas that are very concerning in Provo. So we were looking at some of those main corridors in Provo. Right now, we're mapping out University Avenue from South Bay to 800 North and all of Center Street, but we would love to look in more areas, but it just depends on how many volunteers we have and the interest we have from the people who are helping us with this project. So, okay, so this survey can be used in a lot of different ways, and the measures it uses are the same as in several other built environment surveys. So you can kind of compare across platforms. So some ways that things like this have been used are to identify community strengths and needs. You can create a lot of maps using the things that we measure in this survey. We're looking at environmental health and equity and food and healthcare access, and then other areas that our partners are interested in. We'd love to look at different things and or even bring in other maps and measures to relate to the things that we're measuring. So what we're asking for today are some volunteers. If this is something that you think BikeWalk Provo would like to be involved in. So we are looking for volunteers to do those street segment surveys. So the time commitment would be about an hour of training. And then each segment that you'd want to do, it takes about 30 to 45 minutes. So of course, if you train you, we would love to have you do at least one segment or more. But that's about the time commitment that we have right now. So right now, let me see if I can find the maps. Well, I told you what map, where we were looking in Provo. We also have a lot of places in Orem, and I know several of you are from a couple different areas. So yeah, and then if there are other areas of Provo City that you're interested in looking at, collecting data on and mapping out, we would love to do that if we have the volunteers to look at it as well. So I can leave my contact info with you, or I'm not sure the best way to communicate with the group, or how you'd like to let me know that you'd be interested in collecting data. But yeah,
thank you, Sarah. Can you share a timeline of this project?
Yeah, that is a good question. So I would, because we're working with state partners too, I would like to have the data collected and analyzed by June this year. And I know it's a really, really bad time of year to be looking at street stuff because it's so cold and because some things are covered up with snow. But if we can find some good clear days, it would be better, the sooner we could do it, the better. So we've actually started collecting a lot of data. I think we have like 14 or 15 segments done already. So yeah, just in the next few months, spring might be a good time, so we can kind of maybe talk about it again then. But if people are interested in going out now, we would love to have you collect data.
And the training, one possibility is to do maybe a group training day that many could attend, if that would be good for you and others, to kind of motivate, kind of have a day, a time set that this is when I'm having training on this. So that's something we could think about or coordinate with you also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone asked a question, is that training online or in person?
It could be either one. I'm happy to do it virtually or in person. We've done a couple in-person trainings, but I could always, just share and do a hybrid as well. That's not a problem at all.
Okay. You had your contact information on the screen, but since that's no longer showing, could you also put it in the chat just for anyone who's looking for it there? And then we'll also include it. We'll probably send this information out in a newsletter or social post. We'll share it in other ways too, so that we can reach people who aren't here today.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, of course. Any questions for Sarah that I missed from the chat? Feel free to just unmute and speak up. It looks like Brennan asked, is there a website with more info that we can share with students or prospective volunteers? He has a good network that would be good to connect.
If you send me an email, I can send you a lot of information. And I have been training some students from UVU and from BYU to go out and do the surveys as well. So yeah, I have a lot of information I could give you. You can just reach out to my email. I'd be happy to send that to you.
Perfect. Okay, great. We have one more announcement and then we'll jump into our main topic for the day. James Clausen was going to give us a little bit of a report on the recent meeting about Canyon Road and University. So James, the floor is yours.
Sure. Yeah, let me see. It's not sharing screen.
You should have the ability to, it's like at the bottom, green arrow.
Oh, right in the middle. Obvious.
The big bright green one.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't remember all the details. If anyone missed this, this essentially was there's a intersection update that is being planned of Canyon Road and University Avenue. And they had a virtual public hearing. You can watch the video on this website. I'll link it in the chat if you'd like. But yeah, this website kind of explains what the project is. Essentially, there's the old Provo High, I believe, is being used by BYU. And so they're expecting a lot more foot traffic. And so they're trying to anticipate that and prepare for that. To make it safer. And one of the main things they changed, if I can zoom in, is this slip lane is getting taken out, as slip lanes are not fun for pedestrians. And some bike lanes. Anyway, they're down here. You can put in any comments that you'd like and can probably also contact them as well. But yeah, and was there anything else specifically that you're wanting to share? I know
that's great. Thank you. Yeah, and putting this website in the chat will be helpful too. Any kind of takeaways from the meeting that you observed as you described yourself, a concerned citizen?
My takeaway is I thought it was interesting that they were, open to the public for their opinion. And I had the thought and that I think, safety measures are taken using data, but there's like data that supports and also like how they build things. I think they make decisions based off data. There's lots of data out there. And so I think we can also do some digging and find stuff that was more recent thought, like data on safety rather than, car throughput, pedestrian safety specifically. I don't know if there's any other particular takeaways other than like, be loud about making our streets safer, especially when they give us a chance to be heard. Because I think everyone here wants safer streets to walk and bike and live on.
Can I ask in the comments, like, I'm not familiar with all of the jargon of what we're trying to accomplish. If I want to leave a comment for our safety, like, what should I be saying?
That's a good question. I know Aaron had some good comments in the meeting. He might honestly have more experience there. And again, I'm just a concerned citizen. I've seen some YouTube videos and kind of seen stuff online about just, how to make intersections safer. So, I mean, I don't have that much knowledge or experience, just a little bit of like, but I don't know. I don't know if Aaron had any thoughts there.
I just put it in the chat.
Thanks, Aaron. And Heidi, I see your hand raised. I'm so glad that you are here today. And a representative of UDOT, if you would love, I would love to hear your perspective too.
Yeah, so a lot of times, not that I'll just speak candidly. A lot of times the designers of intersections and UDOT roadways are not users of the bike and pedestrian system. And so even if you aren't familiar with the jargon or what's happening, if you have experiences where right-hand turners don't see you or don't slow down in advance of an intersection, and so they maintain high speeds, you can convey that as a concern in this particular thing, or the fact that, you don't like being sandwiched in the bike lane in between a turn pocket and a regular through lane. And so even if you're not familiar with the jargon, you can totally represent your feelings or your experiences on areas that might look similar to the proposed design, or if you have experiences with how users, even vehicular users, are currently using or have traditionally used this intersection and what those concerns might be, you're more than welcome to relay those, because sometimes the designer or the engineer that's working on this is looking at trying to solve a specific vehicular flow issue. And so, maybe the pedestrian experience or the pedestrian crossing distance isn't something that they're thinking of. So if you have trouble crossing the street in the right amount of time, or, a certain corner always develops slush or ice and it's hard to get through, or, if there's an experience or kind of a recurring kind of traffic pattern that makes you uncomfortable as a user, like, definitely feel free to relay that, even if it's not in jargon. So.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comments or questions about the Canyon Road and University project? Okay, cool. Oh, was there
real
one?
quick, yeah.
Go ahead, Dakota.
This is Dakota. I was actually just maybe not a comment, because I already expressed my comments on elsewhere, but I just wanted to also just stress that point that was just mentioned about how important it is to just really talk and comment using just everyday lingo, because that's how I mean, yeah, just as you can tell, I'm not very good at expressing my ideas and my thoughts, but the idea that you can just literally, it doesn't matter how you say it, as long as you express your concerns and what the needs are of yourself and your community, or those who you're around. So
Yeah.
just stressing that point, and really wanted to push that a little bit, deeper, and just say, yeah, exactly what Aaron said. Like, personal experiences are powerful. I mean, that's what we do in BikeWalk Provo, is share those personal experiences, and that's what makes change. So I think your concern is awesome, and we just really think, I personally think that it's great that you're willing to ask that question and put your feelings out there and help our community. So thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. Agreed. Speaking up is the best thing you can do. Awesome. Okay, well, we have the remaining of our time we're going to spend on our bike rack toolkit is kind of what we're calling it. Over the past few months and years, we've done a lot to increase bike parking around Provo. And so I'll just hand it over to Jacob to describe kind of the methods behind that and some of the tools that we use in doing so. And then I know there's other groups here that came for this piece of it, and we'd love to share, any materials that could be helpful with you. We are totally open to sharing with you afterward as well. So Jacob, over to you.
First of all, I'm calling it Bike Parking 101. Okay, Christine. So let's get on this. I'm just kidding. We can call it whatever we want. So Christine asked me a few weeks ago to make this little presentation. I was more than happy to do it because this is actually how I got into this organization. I was a concerned citizen. You guys have heard the story 1,000 times. I wanted to park my bike at Target. They had no racks. And so I said, who has the most clout? Who has the most power that I can throw, their name at? And BikeWalk Provo stood out. And so as a designer, I ended up creating a proposal, which I will sort of go over in this presentation. And we went from there. So with that, let's get into it. And here's my tip for all you designers out there. You can actually do a slideshow in Illustrator. I don't know if you know that, but check this out. Oh, wait, hold on. Get me up here. I'm gonna share my screen. All right, y'all see that?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay,
Yeah.
check this out. Shift F. Oh, come on. Shift F. Ooh, it looks good though, right? All right. So when we think of bike parking, we're like, you know what? It's not that important, right? Compared to like driving and making our roads safer for bikes, which it is. But imagine waking up in the morning and we have all the best infrastructure. We still need bike racks. So I felt like this was like my way, the easiest way I can get in without all the politics and the red tape. So with that said, welcome. This is Bike Parking 101. And first, steps. So we've got about, I think, 4 steps. I'm going to go through them relatively quickly, faster than I wanted, just because I think we were limited on time, right, Christine? What are we at? 15 minutes?
Yeah, we usually end at the top of the hour,
Okay.
But yep, people
If
could.
you guys want to
late
stay
if
longer,
they
you can
wanna
stay longer,
linger.
whatever. Yeah. So step 1, we are concerned with scouting locations. And when I say scouting locations, it's really every day you're going to the store, you're going to the school, government buildings, and you notice there's no bike racks. Take note of those. Take note of where a bike rack could be, right? And then we're going to show you what to do with that scouting, right? Like who's a good candidate, and we're going to be talking about that as well. So when I went scouting for Target, this is what I did. Do you guys like my smiley faces? You should, because it's cute, and it's BikeWalk Billy, which is our cool logo. So the first thing that I saw was the sidewalk, and that was actually what I thought they were going to go, because I was sort of ignorant. But we have to adhere to certain ADA practices, and when you would put a rack there, it just didn't have enough room. So I thought, maybe why don't we do a parking stall, which was good, but at the same time, it didn't have the coverage that it needed. And quite honestly, I want to get away from his cars, as soon as I can. I don't want to mingle with them. So that was sort of out. And then we found this beautiful spot, the best, which we ended up installing 3 amazing bike racks. So a lot of developers don't build around cars, which we all know, right? Like we are an afterthought, even to everybody. So sometimes you have to get creative. And we already had racks at the library in Provo, but there was some cargo moms and cargo dads who took their kids to the Provo library and decided they needed some racks in the basement. So we said, wait, there's no room, but there is. So you got to get creative with those stalls. And it worked out great. Provo library basement, they had the covered from the elements. It was near an entrance. And it was actually really nice because there was a one-way, so we didn't have to really muddle with traffic all that much. And it was on concrete, which we will get to why that is a good material to drill in. So step 2 is actually approaching businesses. And a lot of the times I've heard people come up to me and say, I've spoken to people, I talked to the manager, or not the manager, I talked to an employee about this and it didn't get to the top. So always, always, always find out who will be making the final decision. So if you go into a store and you say, hey, you guys have no racks, and you're like chewing out the cash, the person who's checking you out at the cash register, they're going to ignore you. And they're going to pretend, they're going to smile, and they're going to act like they're listening to you, but they're just waiting to check out somebody else. So what you need to do is you need to do I want to speak to your manager, but do it nicely and say, hey, I have a complaint and I need to talk to somebody who's making decisions around here about bike racks, right? So where are we at? The pitch. Yeah, so the pitch, it's really, let's just go to the next one. I'm going to read the bullet points, because the first thing you want to do is be honest with your intent, because you don't want it to be as streamlined as I'm trying to make it. You want to be as honest as you can and build this rapport with whoever you're talking with. And you may not even need to make what I'm going to describe as the best bike proposal out there if you have a good relationship with these managers. They will do most of the work if you can get on the same page. Some tips I can give: tell them you're a volunteer, you're making zero money from this. That seems to work, because money is a big issue with them. When they have budgets, they don't want to listen, and they're like, oh, I don't have money, I'm not going to talk to you. But if you're throwing out the F word, free, yeah, I got y'all. You all paying attention? All right. The main thing though is they are all capitalist pig. I'm just kidding. They are all making money. Okay, what is in it for them, right? Like, they don't care anything about bikes unless they're cyclists themselves. Managers just want to make more money. And how do they do that? You tell them you can expand your market by creating more space for a different market that otherwise wouldn't be there, right? I don't know how many times I decide where I go and shop based on if there's bike racks. And I told them that. I said, there's a huge following, people who are cycling out of transportation, and they're going to a different store. So keep that in mind. You can share statistics, but that doesn't really work. I think we alluded to personal stories tend to work more. If you're saying, I can't get my cargo bike over the hump of the curb, and I just ripped my ankle off trying to do it, like, they're more willing to listen to that. You can explain your demographics. Here in Provo, we've got a solid college base. I love throwing that out. I'm like, dude, you have so many kids walking and biking to your store. Imagine if they said, this is a good store I want to shop at because you've made it accessible to them, right? And show them why their racks suck. I brought out the Macy's, which was funny, because so Macy's, they ordered some beautiful racks, but even then the manager was fighting me, and he was saying, why we have these beautiful 1970s wheel bending racks, why not these? And you have to explain to them, well, one, you can't lock up, which I'm going to get into. I'm not going to get into it, but you get the gist, right? And then I love throwing out, again, the F word again, followers. We have a lot of followers, and we have a lot of angry followers who are willing to write and leave bad reviews. And I am very passive aggressive, and I don't mean to be when I talk to them though. I'm like, yeah, I'll just go talk to my 1,000 Facebook followers and let them know that you're not going to give them bike racks that they need. Okay, I'll let you know. And I kid you not, the Walmart director, she's like, wait, don't bash us on Facebook. We got this. So again, you have a lot of power as a citizen. You don't even have to be part of this organization. Like, you have a lot of power to make change. So create a dope proposal. I use the D word because I'm a millennial, because we're cool, right? What slide are we on? We're on 11. Do you guys like that I added the slide numbers? So you're like, how many left? Well, we've got a few more. So honestly, I wish I didn't have to create a proposal. I wish systemically we could have a where I didn't have to be doing this. I'm giving my free time to do this because I care about it. I just wish, I didn't have to do this. But if you do it well, right? That's what I've been taught. I don't think my dad ever said that, but it sounds about right. I don't know. So usually when I create a proposal, I'm not going to show it to you because if you can go back on our videos, I've actually made, I shared what my proposals look like, but I'll just give you a rundown on the main things that I usually put in. I will use a Google map to show the proposed locations to give them a general idea, right? I will then go into these 3 vendors, which, by the way, these are the top 3 vendors I tend to use for a few reasons. MadRax is the best because they usually have a good turnaround time. Uline is the same way. They also have good racks as well. School Outfitters, on the other hand, they have been known to have delays. I think Harmony Fabrics in Provo, it took them like a couple months to get it, albeit they were wanting like a purple color, which is, I don't know, it's different, but whatever. So yeah, I want to hold the hand of the person I'm talking with. I don't even want them to think about it. And so when I'm sending in this estimate, I literally went in, put the racks in the shopping cart and got the shipping and taxes and everything, so they don't have to think about it. And then when they are ready, I have a link ready to send them, because they're very overwhelmed. They have no idea what racks to buy, right? They're very ignorant. I mean, I'm ignorant, like I'm still learning, right? But they don't know if they should be getting, you know, a lean bar. They don't know if they should be getting what type of anchors to get. Should it be above ground? Should it be in ground? Do we get the U rack? Do we get? There's so many questions that if you leave it to them, they're going to screw up. They're not going to do it right, and they're going to be upset because we're chewing them out and saying you need to replace these racks. So I'll include that in the proposal. So I'm a graphic designer, as you can tell, right? I'm just kidding. That was a joke. I mean, sort of, but I'm a graphic designer and I enjoy doing mock-ups. And I will go around, if you know somebody who can do this, have the Photoshop ability, everybody can dabble in it, to just visually show these people what it will look like. And I think everybody right now is like drooling, right? Because you're thinking, wow, I've been to Smith's and I've noticed the scooters dumped around. That's a really good idea, Jake. Wow, look at those racks. Wow, look at, is that a security camera and a sign? And just visually, we're trying to demonstrate that this is going to be a good thing for them, right? And anyways, so you can do it that way. You can take pictures. You can also take pictures to show them how bad it is, right? Like I went into Smith's and I showed them pictures of, I think there was like half a dozen scooters blocking the current crappy racks that they have. So if you want to, you don't even have to mock it up. You can just show them how crappy it is, or bring them out and say, listen, where am I supposed to lock this up? I don't want to be locking up next to a smoking thing like my kid. He's got asthma. Anyway, so you can go into that as well. So I also throw in the bike rack buyer's guide. The first thing you want to do is you want to educate them as much as you can, right? Like that's a really good marketing ploy. Explain to them why they should be buying a rack, a good rack, right? Opposed to leaving their 1970s rack to rust away. So the main thing, there's 2 things when it comes to a good rack, right? The first one is 2 points of contact. And I think everybody knows this. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir. In case nobody knows anything about racks and you stumble across this on YouTube, welcome, because it's like, there's a lot to learn. So 2 points contact. This allows your bike not to be flailing everywhere. Like I'm speaking right now, flailing. And then also having the ability to lock up with U-lock. And that's another thing that Tyler Green, the manager of Smith's, didn't understand, was that, well, he did understand. He told me that they had a high theft area. That's a high theft area. They've had a lot of bikes stolen there. And I'm saying, oh, gee, I wonder why. It's because I'm guessing a lot of people are sort of forced to lock up with a cable. And if you're forced to lock up with the cable in the corner, you're more likely to get your bike stolen. So those are 2 things to consider when buying a rack. And here are your good racks. Absorb it. I put the U rack the biggest because it's, to me, the most utilitarian rack. It's nice sized. You can space it accordingly. You don't have to deal with, I mean, I like the bicycle looking racks, like they're cool, but they're also $600 more, $700 more, right? So you have to consider budget with these people. And the Orion, Target apparently had the money, which I forgot to mention. When you are trying to find out who is paying for it, it is not always the owner, right? So you go to Target and you assume Target has the ability to decide if they're going to have racks or not. That's not the case. It was some property manager in Iowa who I had to communicate with. And that's why I made the proposal, because she couldn't come to Utah. So I said, you know what, I'm going to throw this proposal, email to her to show her where the racks are going to go and what kind of racks they're going to be. So just keep that in mind. The same property owners actually own Walmart, but they don't care about Walmart. So Walmart is actually in charge. So just keep that in mind, going back a bunch of slides. So good racks and then bad racks. And before everybody rolls their eyes about the wave racks, because I know there's a few out there who's like, wait, what about the wave racks? I thought they were good. But they're not, but we can have an argument about that. So you'll find the hanger racks. I saw those at Savers. You can't lock up properly. Again, you only have one point of contact. The grid racks are everywhere and they're terrible because you either have to lock up on the corners if you have a U-lock, or you have to take up the whole thing. So, and I don't even have to tell you about the wheel well. Yeah. Anyways, and the wave racks. Let me explain why I don't like the wave racks, because nobody knows how to use them. I don't know how many times I've been at a store and people either go parallel with it and take up the whole thing, or they're intertwining each other. And it's a cluster. So if you can, go back to this page. Great. I'll also add a FAQ section. Again, all of this is me trying to pitch them. I'm trying to sell them, right? What's in it for me? That's something that you have to keep telling yourself. And one of it is it does provide more security. Like if you have good racks, then you don't have to really worry about your bikes being stolen unless, obviously the user continues cables. It's a financial investment. You're increasing your market. Sometimes your employees are even satisfied and willing to work more because they have racks for them. Talk about the employees' health. They're more aesthetically pleasing. I can tell you that. If I go to a store and I see a 1970s rack, I'm like, ooh, what's going on there? Customer appreciation. Yeah, we already got that. So who funds the racks? I like to explain, because they don't know who funds it sometimes. Sometimes it's the businesses, the property manager actually paid for it for Target because it was their strip mall, or the government could also pay for it as well. And then who's responsible to purchase it? And that's when I will send them links again to the vendors and what type of racks to buy, because there are different types of racks to buy. So, and then of course, who will install it? And I think we're getting to the next part. Are we getting to this? Yep, there we go. So who installs the bike racks? And if you have the time and the money and the energy to install it yourself for free to get this done, let's talk about rack installation. So step 4, so I went to, where are we at? Are we on slide 20? I'm sorry, I'm trying to race because we're at 6
You're doing great. Sorry to cut your time short too. I think we can definitely go a few minutes over. And
okay, I'll go really quick. We got 2 more slides. Is that okay?
Yeah, it is. And I wanted to make one point that the BikeWalk Provo's decision to install the racks for free is a big part of what we do and how we incentivize businesses and property owners to install racks. It's usually, I don't know if you have this in here, Jacob, but a really significant cost, like up to tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about the installation of the racks themselves. Yeah. So yeah. I think recently, was it Dakota? I forget who we talked to. It was at the Canyon and it was like $2,000 just to install one rack. So we are saving them money. And again, throwing that at their face and saying, we are saving you thousands of dollars to doing this for free. Not only that, but we're giving free expert advice. So thank you for bringing that up, Christine. I forgot about that. So if you guys, again, I'm going to speed through it. If you guys want more information, the APBP, the Association of Pedestrians and Bicycle Professionals, this is where I nabbed this infographic from. It's a beautiful infographic. It's quite simple. Keep 2 feet away from any fixed object. And then if you're going to put multiple racks, keep them 3 feet away. Okay. And it gets a little confusing. You can see if you're on a curb, just be smart about it. Think ADA, think of people in wheelchairs, and usually you're okay, right? Stay away from fire hydrants, simple things like that. But if you need more information, maybe we can send you guys the link for that as well. So once you determine where it's going to go, you need to figure out, really, I've only installed in 2 of them. I've installed in concrete and asphalt. I've never installed in brick. there are different anchors for both of them and different ways of doing it, right? They're similar, right? You drill a hole, but for the asphalt, for instance, you sort of have to do it at a slight angle, making sort of a V, so the bike rack won't come out because of frost or something like that. You have to use a sledgehammer for that. And then we actually, if we have time, and if we don't, you guys can go over to your YouTube channel and see, we actually made a wonderful video demonstrating how to install a concrete bike rack into the concrete. So yeah, if you have more questions.
Drop that YouTube link in the chat.
Yeah, can somebody drop that? That'd be great. That'd be awesome. So this is the last, excuse me, this is the last slide. And you have to bring all of these with you. I don't know how many times I left one or two. So if you can just like make a mental note, and we're actually going to start at the top right. Bring your tape measure, because you're going to be measuring where the racks are going to go. The chalk is to help you outline it. Extension cord, because they never have an extension cord. This is all you. You have to buy a rotary hammer, and I suggest going to a pawn shop because they are quite expensive. And fortunately, Austin was like a millionaire when he bought it. I don't know, or he's a millionaire now because he's got like 1,000 homes, whatever. Side note. So once you drill the hole, you need a bike pump, and we use a bike pump symbolically because it's a bike. Like you could use any hand pump, but that's one thing we forgot in our video. You have to get rid of the dust out of the hole, or it's not gonna. When you drill the hole, you're drilling against dust, and it's not going to settle properly. So keep that in mind. You need your hammer and your socket wrench, and obviously your spikes, and clean up after yourself and be a good citizen. But that's pretty much it. If we wanted to watch the video, we can, but I think we're over time. So thank you for giving me the time to talk about it, speed through it, because I was like,
thank you, Jacob.
So.
Can you, if you have one handy, I was wondering if you could pull up the PDF version of one of the presentations you.
Yeah, let me stop sharing, and then I'm gonna find it, and then I will share again.
And while Jacob's looking for that, we can open it up to any questions.
Oh yeah, the Q&A, that would be awesome if you guys have any questions. And Aaron can answer a lot of these questions too. He's done this a lot as well. So
okay, Dakota just asked if we have a website, if our website has a list of locations where bike racks are located. If there's some specific locations missing, who do we send those details to? We don't, that I know of, have that. That would be cool to have. And I also, as we have a planned redesign of our website coming up, and I think we'll create a pretty robust bike parking section on that website with a lot of this kind of material that Jacob shared today, because we've learned so much there. But that's a great idea to also have.
Okay, Christine.
Oh, sorry, Sarah says we do have one on our website. I should know that, but I didn't.
But
and it's probably outdated because we have installed so many bike racks over the last few months.
I would suggest, if you see a location where there ought to be a bike rack, to mention it to the owner or somebody, but also you're welcome to turn it over to our bike rack team. Let us know.
Yeah.
And
we'll
follow up.
BikeWalk Provo, or BikeWalk Provo. What is their email address? I'm sorry. It's on the bottom. No, it's not. It's there.
Yeah, BikeWalk Provo at Gmail.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah, you can email us there, post on our BikeWalk Provo chat, etc. if it's in Provo. For those kind of other organizations that are here today, that's been great for us to have volunteers that are focused on this project. So Jacob's headed our rack crew, and so we have kind of one point of contact to makes that consistent in how we approach businesses, and we don't have 10 different volunteers talking to 10 different people. So
yeah, we don't want to upset people, because I've had it before. I think I went to Macy's and like, yeah, I remember that guy with the small with his glasses. I'm like, wait, are you talking about Aaron? It's like you need to leave us alone. We didn't do anything, and they start becoming this victim. I'm being serious. Like they feel like they're being attacked, and all we're saying is, please just like move your racks a little closer and make them nice. So anyways, Christine, are you okay with me going through this really quickly?
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's really valuable.
So this was one example for the underground parking. I usually put a picture of the place with a picture of the place. So we'll just go through it really quick. Oh my gosh, get out of here.
And just logistically wise, I think Jacob created this probably in an Illustrator tool or I mean an Adobe tool, but we can definitely send this out if it's something you want to replicate within your organization. You may not be able to edit the document, but using that, but it could give you a kind of a template to follow.
Yeah, this was sort of an older one. I've got an updated one with, our branding, right? Yay, new branding. But basically, as you can see, I didn't do a Google map on this. I actually created a quick, well, it wasn't quick, but I made it a quick map of basically proposed locations. And they actually chose 2 of them. They chose number 1 and number 5. So we are so happy with that, honestly. I gave them examples of other underground bike racks, and I addressed their issues because they were concerned about underground bike parking. And I'm like, well, look at the Provo City Temple. They've got an amazing bike rack parking. So again, here's your estimated cost. I usually, when I send a PDF, I will do a hyperlink so they can click the link and it'll take them directly to where they need to buy it. Here are your mock-ups I did to show them where they might go, and they actually turned out exactly like that. So fortunately, we had paint left over, which was nice. So again, another mock-up. They didn't end up going with the stairwells, but I'm happy with what they did. So, and again, I'm educating them. Here are the good racks, and here are the bad racks. What's in it for me? And then the conclusion. So if this doesn't win them over, then just walk away. Because I don't know what else is gonna demonstrate.
Them.
I don't, yeah, like I gave the one to Smith's, and like I said, Tyler Green was just, it's like nobody cares about racks. It's like, yeah, you just wait. And then I kid you not, probably 24 people emailed him the next day, 36 people, and he's like, please take down whatever you said on Facebook because I'm tired of getting hate mail. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now. Is that okay, Christine?
Yeah, no, this is great. Just as a kind of conclusion, if you would like these materials, like I said, we're going to update our website eventually, but if you want them more urgently, just email us bikewalkprovo@gmail.com and we can get you set up with some of these,
Sure. And if you guys want to, sorry to interrupt you, Christine. If you ever need a demonstration how to use a tool or whatever, come over and we'll practice on somebody's driveway or something. I need a rack.
And you have good videos, and also it's like we're usually installing a rack within the next few weeks, and you could come learn in person.
I'd love for you to come and learn in person because we're still learning. Like for instance, we broke a bolt, and now I'm starting to be a little more cautious when I twist those bolts. So you learn as you go.
You do. Any final questions? Thanks for everyone who spent a little more time with us today than planned. I think it was productive meeting though.
I had one question. I just threw it in the chat, but I'm asking about the cycle docks. It's like a bar that comes up and there's kind of 2 almost squares, like wings that come out.
Yeah, those are okay.
You just installed a whole bunch. They're bright green. Are those any good?
Yeah, for sure. Because so if you've got the circle ones, that's the one you're talking about, and you got the posts in the middle.
Yeah,
those are great because you got 2 points of contact and you're able to lock up a U-lock on it. So the only negative to that was I did find one of them. I don't know who installed it. We didn't install it. I think it was the city. One of the bolts was loose and I literally picked the whole thing up. So obviously they didn't come to me on what type of racks to get, but if they had, we wouldn't be talking about it now. So
gotcha. Okay, I just see one online for about 600. So I think they cost more. They look cool.
Yeah, so you can get a rack like the U rack is probably your cheapest bet. With tax and stuff, you saw that it's around 200 per rack, whatever. So
thanks.
Jacob noticed the covered bike parking at Helaman the other day, Brayman, so you should know that.
Oh yeah, I did. Who did that, by the way? Was that BYU? We talked about this.
BYU.
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah, anyways. I've got COVID brain right now. I got to go lay down. So
thank you so much for presenting.
For sure.
You all. Thanks for joining today, and we'll see you next month.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Don't leave, Chris. I see you. Don't you leave. Hey, did you see the deck in my back? I got another deck. I was going to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I got a bigger